Hi there and welcome back to Japan, and thank you especially if you're one of the people who's been waiting over the last couple of days where we haven't been able to post any videos, trying to get all the social media and everything sorted out. Anyway, we're going to be jumping back in with a band who we occasionally check out, and it's really interesting when we do because they're quite different from a lot of the other bands we listen to here, which is Ningen Isu. And we've heard, I think, 4 of their songs now, quite a lot of their songs, well, for a reaction channel, and the comment that always comes up is, oh, go back and check some of their older stuff, which isn't so much publicised on their page, but I thought, yeah, I definitely want to do that. So I found a song which seems to be quite popular called Ghost Train, and I can tell immediately by looking at the thumbnail that it's a comparatively old one. Now, it's also comparatively short by their standards. It's less than 6 minutes. Crikey. So we're going to see what this is like. You guys already know what I think about Ningen Isu, but just quickly cover it. Basically, I love the sort of rawness they get from being a 3-piece band and only having one guitarist, one 6-string guitarist in there, in that you can really hear the sound of the guitar, and you can hear the sort of fingers on the strings or the pleck on the strings in a way that a lot of more bigger, compressed, multiple guitarist metal bands you can't. I love they've got a great deal for riffing as well and for flipping up songs. My only problem is sometimes if they settle into a groove and that groove continues too long, then, which I know is something that is often quite popular in some more classic style metal, to me I can get a little bit bored with that, so I like it when their songs go in those sort of crazy roller coaster directions where it all gets out of control. So Ghost Train, who knows where that's going to go? Is it going to be more Ghost or is it going to be more Train? Does that even mean anything? I don't know. Ghost Train. I think that basically says Ghost Train from the couple of kanji I recognise. Oh, now that's an old school start to a video. This reminds me of the sort of stuff I'd expect from bands like Black Sabbath. I mean, as you guys know, I'm not too familiar with those kinds of bands anyway, but it has that sound. I like that little section. I mean, it's setting into a bit of a standard rhythm, but they got 4 minutes left to play with it. I mean, I like the riff and I like the feel of it, but I'm waiting for more to happen to really fill it in. It feels like it's building to something and I want to know what. So I'm guessing that's the chorus. It's kind of like, it's a big atmospheric chorus, but I think whereas they're more recent and probably more modernly produced material, like I say, the sound of being a three-piece really helps them. In this, actually, it comes across more thin. Maybe because it's harder to get those big sort of guitar sounds that you can do now. I'm going to say something which might come across as a bit surprising, I don't know, but I'd be really interested to know what you guys think. I think because of the slow tempo and the sort of swaying nature, I find this song almost more relaxing than anything. It's a little bit on the dark side, but it basically kind of comes across as kind of a relaxing metal song. This is like chill metal. They saved the craziness for the last minute. All right. Okay. This is a difficult one to know how to approach, actually, because first things first, I like the charm of it. There is something rather charmingly old school about it, and as with all of their videos, you get the feeling that the band are much larger than life than their budget maybe allows them to express. But that was kind of a funny old school video. It had all the old school tropes, didn't it? You know, I basically, when it comes to that as a total package, I don't find anything where I go, oh, you know, nothing particularly wrong with it. But I think one of the things that maybe is a bit strange for me is that nothing seems to particularly stand out as going, wow, this is like a really great Ningen Isu song. It's kind of more of a, yeah, it's like I say, it was kind of almost like chilled out. I felt kind of chilled during the whole thing. Like, you know, once you get used to the sort of plodding rhythm of it and everything kind of becomes kind of like a slow groove. But whereas a lot of their more modern songs, maybe the groove is much more aggressive. You know, for better or worse, I guess it depends what you like. I mean, if you're approaching this wanting something really heavy and sort of like a heavy headbanging groove, then probably the newer stuff. I mean, obviously this is the only older song that I've got as a means of comparison, but perhaps the newer stuff is better because it has a bigger sound, which I think a lot of that comes from the way they can produce it now and the, you know, the sort of production techniques that you have on more modern recordings, which allow them to fill up the sound more. However, you know, this is, whether it be due to production or not, this is just kind of feels very chilled out, quite airy. Like I say, the guitar doesn't sound so big, so everything kind of sounds quite sparse and just sort of plodding along gently. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, I guess it depends on I think that all depends on what you think the song should be, or probably most of what they intended it to be, although you always hear the argument that really a song is only as good as it, you know, as it is being what you perceive it to be, because, you know, it's basically entertainment, isn't it? So I'm perceiving this to be a kind of like a chilled metal song, but then that was all thrown out the window when you got to that last minute. You had that fun little bit of craziness where everything just picked up a little bit. I felt that was perhaps Although usually that's the bit I enjoy most of all. If that had appeared sort of in the bridge to sort of create a change in the song, that would have been interesting. But at the end, it kind of feels almost like it's a little bit tacked on there, because you've become kind of chilled, almost sedated by the rest of the song. And I do maintain that's quite chilled out, I think. Despite the slightly dark tone of it, it does feel very relaxed. It kind of almost feels like being... it's almost like waking up in a creepy haunted house rather than being chased down the corridor. So, yeah, trying to think of a good analogy there. That's the best one that came off the top of my head. It's a song that if someone's saying to me, "Oh, Howard, would you go back and listen to this one again?" I've got to admit, there's other Ningen Isu songs that I would go to much quicker than this one. However, if someone was asking me, "Oh, I want a chilled out metal song," this would probably be the go-to one. Like I said, there's nothing in it that's bad, but then again, there's not. For a song that's nearly 6 minutes long, there's not enough in it to really find anything bad. It just kind of is. It kind of is what it is. I think this is one of those ones we were saying before. This is a band who are somewhat useful if you are a fan of medicating yourself leisurely. It's a leisurely medication type of band, I think. And this song would very much play to that. I can imagine people just being chilled out, sitting around a card game or like a console game or something, listening to this. I can imagine that happening. That's kind of what it is. So it's hard for me to really critique this one. But I would say, from my own personal opinion, it's not really got enough in it for me to warrant another 6-minute listen. I'm sure there are some contexts where it'd be perfect, but it doesn't really strike me quite as hard. However, I do like the charm of it. I think there's a good charm to it. I do think it certainly has its uses. Maybe just because it doesn't appeal to me doesn't mean it's of no worth. I mean, it's something where I can kind of understand why people would really get into this. But I kind of want it to be a little bit more of a blast of interesting things happening when I listen to a band like this, because I know they're really good at that. I know they're really good at shifting up their style and doing crazy things. So I would say interesting, not really so much my thing. I kind of like the video, but mostly in a sort of throwback, silly way. I am, as always, I'm interested to hear more of this band. I'm more than willing to go through more of their stuff, because it seems they do have quite an interesting catalogue. However, if you guys are recommending me songs, as you do sometimes do, and apologies, it takes me so long to get round to them, if you can specifically pick out songs of theirs which are more have a lot of things going on, which are quite kinetic, which are quite full of arrangement shifts, those are the ones that always seem to appeal to me more. So if you're trying to find something that will appeal particularly to my taste, go for that. If you're trying to challenge me, then probably go for something a little bit more groove based, a bit more like this. So like I say, not a bad song, but I don't think there's enough in there to really make it particularly interesting. This is actually the first time where I've ever actually thought, well, actually on this song, Ningen could have used another guitarist or something else in there. So yeah, that's my opinion. Hasn't put me off the band, certainly, but just kind of made me think, oh well, that's background music. That one is background music, in my opinion. That I can't imagine that ever working as foreground music, but as background music, yes, I totally see it. It's a groove to put on in the background so as to set a certain atmosphere, and on that level it works. Anyway, for now from Japan, thank you so much for tuning in. Looking forward to speaking to you guys soon. We will be trying to get caught back up on these videos and catching back up on our list. And thank you so much for bearing with us while we were going through last weekend, having to take a little bit of a pause while we worked out some of the social media intricacies that we had to get on top of. So for now, from Japan, again, thank you so much, and ciao ciao.